Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel InfoSec Lab. It's day 3 of Advent of Cyber 2025 from TryHackMe, and today's topic is Splunk. What is Splunk? It's a SIEM tool that is widely used by blue teamers for incident response, logs analysis, and monitoring. If you haven't heard of Splunk, don't worry about that. Let's dive into the lesson and see what it is. It's almost Christmas in Waveville, and the team of the best festival company, TBFC, is busy preparing for the big celebration. Everything is running smoothly until the SOC dashboard flashes red. A ransom message suddenly appears. Attack! 1,000 HOPSEC coins for Maskitty. All SOC must ends tonight. The message comes from the King Mao here, the jealous ruler of HOPSEC Island, who's tired of Easter being forgotten. He sent his bad bunnies to attack the TBFC systems and turn Christmas into his new holiday, Xmas. With Maskitty missing and the network under attack, the TBFC SOC team will utilize Splunk to determine how the ransomware infiltrate the system and prevent King Mao Hera's plan from being compromised before Christmas. The learning objectives of the room is to ingest and intercept custom log data in Splunk, create and apply custom field extractions, use search processing language, which is SPL, to filter and refine search results, conduct an investigation within the Splunk to uncover key insights. As usual, we have to connect to the machine, which I've already done so. Now this time we might not need the virtual machine, so we're just going to copy this one and put it in our browser. Log analysis with Splunk. In a Splunk instance, the data has been pre-ingested for us to investigate the incident. On the Splunk interface, click on the search and reporting on the left panel, as you can see below. On the next page, type index equals main in the search bar to show all the ingested logs. Note that we have to select all time as time frame from the drop-down on the right side. So search and reporting, right here. Then index equal main. Over here, we have to select all time, search. Events are going to be populated. Moving on next. After running the query, we will be presented with two separate datasets that have been pre-ingested into Splunk. We can verify this by clicking on the source type field, which is this one right here. We have two source files. The two datasets are follow the web traffic. This data source contains events related to the web connections to and from the web server. The firewall logs. This data source contains the firewall logs, showing the traffic allowed or blocked. The local IP assigned to the web server is 10.10.1.15. Okay, let's take a look at the source type. As expected, we have two sources, web traffic and the firewall logs. Initial triage. Start a basic search across the index using your own custom source type, web traffic, using the following query. So we've already got this one, index equals main. So now we have to specify the source type, which is the web traffic. One more thing. You can actually copy and paste the query, but in order to learn and to train your muscle memory, I would recommend you typing it out. We have index equals main and then space sort type equals web traffic. I have a typo right here. You see, when the syntax is correct, you're gonna get the suggestion. Next, so let's break down the search query. This query retrieves all the events from the main index that were tagged with the custom source web traffic. This marks the beginning of the investigation, time range. The time range is currently set to all time. In security analysis, this range would be tightened after initial data loading. Timeline. This visual histogram shows the distributions of the 17,172 events over time. The graph indicates the successful daily log volume, followed by a distinctive traffic spike, a period of high activity, likely the attack window. Let's take a look at it. The first one is the search field right here, the query, which we input right here. Second is a time range, which is this one. And third is the timeline, the visual histogram, which is right here. We see several spikes from October 10 to October 14. So these 5 days are considered suspicious to us. So this is a visual histogram. Select the fields. These are the fields currently chosen to be displayed on the summary column of the event list. host, source type. They represent basic metadata about the log file itself, which is over here, this one. Interesting fields. This pane lists all the fields that Splunk has automatically extracted or manually added. Fields prefixed with #, which is the day hour, are automatically generated by Splunk temps command. The presence of user agents, path, and client IP confirms the successful parsing of the web log structure. So for number 4, the selected field, this is the number 4 right here, the selected field, and this is number 5, which is the interesting fields. Number 6, event and details field extraction. This section shows the parse detail of a single event with extracted field like the user agent, path, status, client IP, and more. So what's number 6? This one is number 6 right here. Meaning that over here we see some right arrows. When we click that one, the event will expand and we're going to see its specific details. Click one more time, we collapse that specific event. Visualizing the logs timeline. Let's chart the total event count over time, grouped by day, to determine the number of events captured per day. This will help us in identifying the day that receive an abnormal number of logs. And the query we use is indexman, the source type, which is done. And then we use this one. Remember, in Linux command line, this is a pipe, meaning that you pass whatever output from the previous command to the next command. It's similar in this case. You're going to run the first query right here, and whatever the output of the first query will be passed into the second query, which is time chart span equal 1 day count. Okay, let's do it. Time chart span equal 1 day count. And this query right here just sort the count. Again, we pass the output and then sort by count. And we have the results that are showing the event logs captured per day. This could be interesting, as we can see some days getting a high volume of logs. We can also click on the visualization tab to examine the graph with better representation. So let's take this one, visualization right here. We can see October 1st all the way to October 9th, there's nothing new, but from October 10th to October 14th, we'll have a high volumes of logs, especially October 12th. We can append the reverse function at the end to display the results in descending order, showing the day with the maximum numbers of events at the beginning. Okay, so what was reverse? Yes. Here we go. Before we ran the reverse query, the top results was October 20, October 5th, and then October 18th, October 2nd. But now when you run a reverse query, the order changes. Now October 12 should be the first one on top of the result list because it has the most counts, which is 2267 counts. Next one on the list is October 10, which has 2012 counts, and so on. So there's a clear period of intense activity during which King Mao here launched his attacks. Anomaly detection. Now that we have examined the days with the abnormal logs, using the table and the graph, let's use the same search query to examine the various fields to hunt for suspicious values. We need to go back to the Events tab to continue. So Events tab right here, and then User Agent. Let's click on User Agent field. It will show the details about the user agent captured so far. So when we click on the user agent, let's see what's the user agent right here. Over here, we see there are total 11 different values from these 17,000 events. And these are the top 10 values. From iPhone, we have Windows, we have the Mac, and we have some other user agents. This is a count value. It shows that for this Mozilla iPhone user agent, it appears 3,160 times. For the second user agent, which is Windows Machine, it appears 3,075 times. And so upon closer examination, it becomes clear that apart from legitimate user agents like Mozilla variants, we are receiving a large number of suspicious ones, which we will need to investigate further. Okay, these are regular user agents, except for this one, automatic SQL injection right here, which is not really common. We also have the SQL map, which is a very powerful tool to exploit SQL injections and vulnerabilities in applications. We'll take a look at them later. The next field we want to investigate is the client IP. Again, these are the top 10 values. So over here, you see 100 plus, meaning that there are more than 100 different IP addresses across these 17,000 events. And these are the top 10 values that appear the most. We see that 198.51.100.155 is the one that appears the most, which is 7,876 times. That's a lot compared to any other IP addresses. The path. The third field we will examine is path, which contains the URI being requested and accessed by the client IP. The results shown below clearly indicate some attacks worth investigating. So let's take a look at the path. The paths right here. We have the index.html, we have the block, we have the static, shop, contract, search, everything. Again, if we take a look at the paths right here, we see the top one is index.html, which is normal. We have the blog post, which is also normal. So far, we haven't seen anything suspicious until we reach these paths right here. We see this one is normal, but this one, it looks like an SQL injection attempt. And this one looks like path traversal attempt. Filtering out the benign values. We know that King here has been use scripts and tools, not standard browsers. Let's filter out all the standard traffic. Let's exclude common illegitimate user agents. The following query will remove legitimate user agents from the results and only show the suspicious one, which we will further investigate. So we've got index equals man, the source type already, user agent, and this one. User agent is not equal to whatever contains the Mozilla, and we also exclude whatever user agents that contains Chrome or Safari or Firefox. So these are going to be user agents that we exclude. Let's do it. So we've got everything right here. And user agent. Let's copy this one. I know that we're going to use it for multiple times. Not equals Mozilla. Yes. User agent not equals user agents not equal Safari, not equal Firefox. Did we miss anything? Looks correct. Type it. And we narrow down to the 7,876 events, which is expected right here. The output reveals the interesting results. By clicking on the client IP fields, we can see a single IP address being responsible for the suspicious user agents. Let's note that down for the further investigation. So after filtering the results, we click on the client IP, which only one, and we found this one, which is 198.51.100.55. Write that right here. Narrowing down the suspicious IPs. In real-world scenarios, we often encounter various IP addresses constantly attempting to attack our servers. To narrow down on the IP addresses that do not send requests from common desktop or mobile browsers, we can use the following query. So we stop right here to filter out the user agents, and now we pipe all the results to stats count by client IP. And then we sort by count and show only the first 5. So stats count by client IP. Start count by client IP. And then do we sort? We sort by count with and then have 5. The results come from the top IP used by the bad bunnies. In the search query, the dash in the sort dash count will sort the result by count in reverse order. It's the same as using the reverse function earlier. So we have confirmed that this is the abnormal IP address from the bad bunnies. Tracing the attack chain. We will now focus on the selected attacker IP to trace the steps chronologically, confirming the use of multiple tools and payloads. Don't forget to replace the redacted with the IP we noted down. Okay. So the first phase is reconnaissance, which is footprinting. We'll start for the initial probing of exposed configurations files using query. So source file is web traffic. The client is the IP address and path in environment, PHP info, git. Let's do it. Tab equals web traffic. What else do we need? Client IP equals 1, and then path in dot environment info git. Alright. So we have PHP info, we have git. It's good. And then we pass the output to the table tab, path, user agent, and status. And what was the last one? Status. Let's see. What was wrong? We have the client IP and pathing. Okay, everything's correct, isn't it? Dot environment. Shouldn't matter. Oh, it does. Oops. The result confirms the attacker used low-level tools, curl, duplicate, and was met with 404, 403, 401 status codes. Right here, let's see, we have use a curl command. We have the wget command, and these are the status code right here. 403, 44, 401, 43. Enumeration, it is vulnerability testing. Now we search for common path traversal and open redirect vulnerabilities. And the query we use is this one. These are the parameters we include in the search query. So delete this one. Path equals, or path equals redirect. Okay. Path equals, no. Or path equals. Okay, the output shows the resources the attacker is trying to access. Let's update the search query to get a count of the resources requested by the attacker. This search query is filtering on the paths that contain either double dot, slash double dot dash, or the term redirect in it. As shown below, this is done to look for footprints of path traversals attempt. We need to update the search query to escape the character like this. Okay. starts by count. No. And we narrow down to 2 results. Reviewing attempt to read the system files, showing the attacker moved beyond simple scanning to active vulnerability testing, which is right here. And then SQL injection attacks, find the automated attack tool and its payload by using the query below. So these are the queries we've been using. Remember, in the user agent, we have something like automatic SQL. So we're going to copy these SQL agents right here. And we're going to just take the table time, path, and status. We have timeline right here, and we see the payload ID equals 1, and then sleep 5 seconds. This is blind SQL injection. ID sleep for 5 seconds, sleep URL encoded version. So we have 2 endpoints, the item.php and the search.php. These are the 2 endpoints where attackers or the bad bunnies try to inject malicious SQL payloads. And a 405 status code confirms a successful time-based SQL injection, which you can see right here for file 4. Exfiltration attempts. Now we have to search for attempts to download large sensitive files like backups, logs, and the way we do this is to run the following query. Same thing right here, client IP address, same thing, and the path is in backup zip, logs, tars. The rest is the same. Oh, this one should be path. The results indicate that the attacker was exfiltrating large chunks of compressed log files using the tools like curl, zgrab, and more. We can confirm the details about these connections in the firewall logs. So basically, throughout these queries, you see something in the same format. We have the source tag, we have a client IP address, and then we either look for the user agents or the path, and within those, these are the possible values that we want to filter. The log. For the path, we want to look for something that contains the backup.zip or the logs.tar.zip. Whereas previously, for the user agents, we try to look for something that contains the SQL map or heavy. Ransomware Staging RCE. Requests for sensitive archives like logs.tar.gz and the config indicate the attacker is gathering data for double extortion. In the logs, we identify some requests related to the bunny log and the shell.php. Let's use the following query to see what those search queries are about. So we have the same thing. We have the path in bunny logs bin. We update the values that we're looking for, and we also have shell right here. So let's copy and paste this here. And we're going to display the table time, path, user agent, and status. User agent status. The above results confirm that a successful web shell. The attacker has gained full control over the web shell server and is also able to run the commands. This type of attack is called the remote code execution, or RCE. The execution of the shell PHP command bunny log bin indicates the ransomware live program executed on server. So if you take a look at this one, you see this is a command injection right here. Basically, this is the shell code that the bunnies were able to upload on the websites, and then when running the shell.php file, it allows the bunnies to remotely execute a command onto our system. About C2 communication. We pivot the search to the firewall logs using the compromised server IP 10.10.1.5 as a source and attacker and destination. So the source tab is changed to firewall.logs, and this is the IP address. Firewalls.logs right here. And the IP address is client the source IP address. So now, how do we know which field to include? So first, we look for the source type right here. We see we have different things. We have the source IP. We also have the destination IP, I believe, which is right here. So now, because our target server is the compromised server, which is 10.10.1.5, so it's going to be our source IP, which is okay, and then the destination IP is going to be the one for the back bunnies. I forgot what it was. This one. This is the destination ID. Okay, what else do we need? We have the source IP, the destination IP, action is allowed, and then we only display the table action protocol source. This let's just copy this one, and action is allowed. Okay, and pipe this one. So the query proves the server immediately established an outbound connection to the attacker C2 IP on a suspicious destination port. The action is allowed, and the reason is C2 contact fields confirm the malware communication channel was active. The volume of the data exfiltrated. We can use a sum function to calculate the sum of the bytes transfer using the bytes transfer field. So the same thing, we have the source type is firewall's logs, source IP is this one, destination IP is this one. So this remains the same. Here we use the stats and the sum function right here. Stat some bytes transfer, the bytes transfer by source IP. Okay. So the bytes transfer by source IP. Click on this one, we have source IP, and then this one, it's right. This is the sum right here. So the conclusion, the attacker was identified by the highest volume of malicious web traffic originating from the external IP. Intrusion factor, the attack followed a clear progressions in the web logs. Reconnaissance, probes the initiated CRL, probe the initiated by a CRL wget looking for configuration files .env and testing path traversal vulnerabilities. Exploitation, the use of SQL map user agents and specific payload sleep to confirm the successful exploitation phase. Payload delivery, the action on objective was established by the final successful execution by the command via the web shell. C2 confirmation, the pivot of the firewall logs prove the post-exploitation activity. The internal compromised server, which is 10.10.1.5, established an outbound C2 connection to the attacker's IP. Answer the question, what is the IP address found attacking and compromising the web server? Is 198.51.100.55. Which day was a peak day in the fire logs? Remember, it's 2025 October 12th. Yep, that was a peak day. What is the count of heavy user agents events found in the logs? Oh, we have to go back. What was it? What was the query? Okay, query is web traffic. And the client IP equals to this one, and user agent in, what was it? Heavy? Yeah. Let's make sure. Brr. Okay, let's go back to the query. What was it? What was the query? It is right here. Why is it not showing anything? So we have the source side web traffic, the client IP, user agent, which is correct. Table tab path status. It doesn't show anything in the source tab. Web traffic typo. Always double check the typos. And then user agents is heavy. So here we have 993 events. How many path traversal attempt to access the sensitive files on server were observed? So what was the path traversal query? Was it? No, it wasn't this one. It wasn't this one either. It was this one. So over here, we just copy paste run the query. We have 1291 events. Oh wait, how many path traversal attempts to access the sensitive files on the server were observed? So we don't we only need the first one, which is 658. Examine the firewall logs. How many bytes were transferred to the C2 server IP from the compromised server? So let's try to record the query. So we have source IP equals this one, and then destination IP equals, what was it? This one? Yes. And then what was the question? Examine the file logs. How many bytes? Okay, byte transfer. Then we pass it stat some byte transfer. By source IP. Some bytes transfer by source IP. Here's about use. Alright, so that's it for the room today. I hope it's not too much for you. To sum up, in this room, we learned some basics of SPL, which is search processing language, how to use it in Splunk to extract results information from different sources of logs. We also learned how to use different search queries to narrow down the search results, identify attacks, events that happen in our system. If you're new to Splunk and SIEM tools, I know it's a bit confusing and you may have a lot of questions. Don't worry, just go back to the room and keep practicing, and eventually you get comfortable with using the SPLs. If you have any question, feel free to reach out to me, and thank you very much for watching the videos. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.